Well, hello people, and welcome back to part 58 of Rannoch of another Boreal build. Hope you're having a wonderful day. I'm just enjoying the enormous vistas of a nighttime Rannoch right now, mate. I really await the day that CS2 holds some nighttime views like this. It's gorgeous, isn't it? Really cool. But either way, today we have some service and some unique buildings left to use up. Heading back to the very far northwestern edge of the strait up here, across the sprawling twinkling nightlights, you'll see that there is an unbuilt, undeveloped section right here in the highway between the two rivers that is currently home to some sewage works that will relocate. And we've also got some final mall assets to use. I think a bit of a rundown highway side mall. There's some possible unique buildings to complement the stadium and big commercial vibes we have over here. And I think the other side of the highway will bring a little industrial service road under. And build something of a little sewage treatment plant here. And I think we've also got some scope for this suburb to expand out and across from here as well. Which should be a lot of fun as we fill some more northwestern space in Rannoch. Let's get stuck into it, shall we? So first of all, let's move our two sewage treatment plants, which will certainly serve as part of a wider industrial service area, but for right now, I just need them aligned. So let's bring in our industrial road. Now what we like for terrain here first, actually, let's check our land. There we go. Good job we checked, isn't it? It's a bit too steep, that one. Although I will bring this one over here a little bit, I think. That'd be quite nice there, I think, won't it? Just bring that terrain up to where the water's flowing as well. I'm happy to kind of deepen the river canyon as well. Create some more terrain layers through here. I think there's also scope as well, just to push everything down here around the highway and the rail. I think that'll end up serving as well in the end. So this industrial road, pretty much aligned against the highway, and then we'll grab one, and then we'll grab two, and we'll keep them over there for right now. Got a little bit of abandonment over here, quite a bit of abandonment actually. Maybe you guys want some residences. We'll do that over here as well today then. So I wouldn't mind just some apartments, you know, just kind of on this main street around here. Maybe as part of the transport hub. When we did actually build this hub, a lot of people suggested maybe some high density residential here. So we'll do it. We'll do it. I'm just thinking, do I want to provide some sort of ramp for the highway here, but there's an interchange already down this way, so it's probably not needed. Let's bring this 4-lane road out, and then with the terrain on this side, I'm going to make it all the same height as the highway, at least up until this section. And then just as it begins to kind of peter off away from the arterial road there, we'll use that as an excuse to bring down this terrain layer here. Which should work quite nicely with this little dirt road that will come under here. We should have enough room. There we go. We'll develop this area in the second bit of the episode, I think. This road can come out, we'll hook that one in, and then we'll fall down to 4-lane as we approach here, I reckon. So let's bring these roads up here. So there's a few assets I want to use today to install, I guess, a little bit of a sort of rundown sort of strip mall vibe, right? So I'm going to bring some non-parking roads up here, and we'll allow some room for some parking to actually develop. So we'll draw them in there. Then we can place these in. I have one there. And then there's one more building from King Leno's malls we've yet to use, which is... I can click the right one. There we go. The strip mall here, right? Which I think just orientated against this arterial road like that will do it a world of good. I'll run down, you know, like this used to be the place to shop before, you know, this like ultra modern, amazing public transport mall was built. Now everyone shops here, that big brand, rather than supporting sort of mom and pop shops out in the sticks, right? That sort of vibe would be quite nice to install in the build today, I think. I'm happy for sort of these little nice Art Deco numbers to take place. We'll let that one level up a little bit. We've also got another mall asset to use as well. A level 2 building, I think. There we go, the Mall of Moderation. I don't think we'll have exactly there. Let's begin to piece together this kind of out-of-town rundown mall, which we won't have. Then again, we would have a connection here. It's a very small segment, which is usually not a smart thing to do, especially in vanilla. But I can bear with it. Now with this one here, I think we'll do that same thing we've just done down this side. So we'll use our no parking roads. And this way we can hold some fun. I actually wonder if, because these are already so close to the road, yeah, you will maintain your connection if we place you like that, won't we? Which is quite interesting, actually. It's quite a fun little trip for vanilla. You do get the space, but you could always push it back, I suppose. If we upgraded this segment here into 4 lane, it would work. And then downgrade back into 2. Okay, probably a slightly more convoluted way of doing it, but I don't mind it. And that one's going to sit really nicely there as well, isn't it? Right? Happy with that. Got this old kind of mall out the back here as well. Very fun. I'm pretty sure it's been a while since I've used the mall of moderation, I think. Not since Orchid Bay. And even then I can't really remember where it was in Orchid Bay. You're not snapping nodes, but we can, I think, connect you in. How about an airport apron at the back of here as well? Because this mall almost kind of looks a bit like an old sort of castle, doesn't it? I can imagine it was quite themed and maybe had some child attractions at the back for that. Things like the birthday plaza, you know? Maybe, maybe this is finally the place to use it. You know, like it's this big, old, obnoxious statue that was built in the 90s for the kids and now it just looks all rusty and it's falling down and people sell illegal substances from there. That sort of place. So let's box off our trees. We can probably create some nice little planters for them, actually. And then we'll bring our road through into this area if we also want to start holding assets here. We'll come up with some nice design to keep children from falling into the river. There is also the other parks, isn't there? Which, I mean, is this the place for the birthday plaza? No. No, it's not. Is the answer. One day we'll find a spot for that asset. And then let's do like a little round plinth thing for it here, right? Let's do a little 3x3 curve. And then hopefully I can place you in about there. And then I should be able to mostly blend it in with some tactical apronage, if we can call it that. I think just around here. So here where it's snapping to the road, if we actually downgrade just these segments into highway, it'll actually stop snapping collision of the apron, which allows you to place it a little bit more sort of freehand, really. Which is ultimately what I'm after here. That should be okay. Let's grab that road again now. Cool. Now from this, we can just make a whole bunch of walkable plaza spaces. Especially since we've already got metro, sorry, not metro, trams right here. So this will only encourage that walking. I think what we will do actually is integrate a little elevated pedestrian bridge here now. So let's come up not by 12 meters, let's do 9 instead. No grid snap in here. And then let's just get a nice pedestrian overpass crossing down here. You really gonna complain about that? About some bloody pillars? Okay, it's fine. The pillars, but it's okay. I can just about make do with them, I think. Yeah, I'm just making it more difficult for myself, aren't I? Let's just do this whole platform there. We can just blend it across then. Cool. And then would it be averse to some riverside action? Do have a few points of access down to the rivers. I just don't know if this is an appropriate place for it. I guess we'll see as it goes on. Send those guys up there. And then this one also across here. And that should give us some pretty believable spaces there, I think. Lots of things to detail there as well. Very nice. Let's continue to bring in some more residential apartments. Don't mind maybe some of the older, more run-down looking stuff perhaps knocking about around the back of the mall. See if we can do that. And then I'm going to bring in some Railroad to Japan park in here as well. There we go. And then some trees. Definitely nothing too landscaped around here if it's the sort of place where, you know, the buildings are on their way out. I think with the presence of this high density housing also here, I'm happy to develop, I think, a little bit of a low rent housing estate, if you like. Let's have some more interesting roads come through here. And then let's pick and choose some spaces for some tower blocks to develop. And then let's litter this tiny little space with tiny little parks. We'll have some back-to-back. Some park life playgrounds would also be very nice in here. And maybe a pitch as well. Let's come in to add Peanuts sports venues. And probably football. Or should we do cricket? We never do cricket, do we? Please, the cricket please for once. Which the cricket please always tell me every time I mention cricket how good cricket is. And it's not. It's incredibly boring watch. I don't understand how you can play a game for 3 days and it still be a joy, you know? That's okay though. I won't judge the cricket gang. Let's make this dirt pathway as well. And just begin to blend this over here as well. And then a little bit of Ranoc's natural forest, I think, should be quite at home here, just to give a bit of a border between people and national speed limit cars. There we go. Actually, do you want to take this down 2-lane all the way? We could do, you know. It's just 2-lane out of here, isn't it? Which, I mean, I guess I could probably maybe just make this 3-lane all the way, couldn't I? Probably makes the most sense from a lane math point of view. Which I think is what we'll do. So that's perfect. This is exactly the asset I want in here, right? And let's not have any weird ones. Let's do perhaps another one there. Maybe a little bit further over. Yeah, something like that. And then the little pond and the garden combo actually works very nicely there, doesn't it? Now let's stick some more of these parks in all these little spaces. Cool. This should blend quite nicely with kind of the old, run-down, now disused mall aesthetic as well. We hope anyway. There we go. People are using our pedestrian crossing already. And beginning to move around the plaza as well, which is great. I also mentioned the hotels DLC as well, didn't I? I feel like the mall... Oh, not the mall. The motel would be nice next to the mall. I mean, yeah, that does a pretty good job, doesn't it? Just the motel sign right there. I'm pretty happy with that, to be honest. Maybe even 2. Can always relocate that entrance road, no problem. Yeah, I think we'll do 2 of them. Just a bit more impactful, isn't it? That can just come down there now. So guys, please excuse the choppy nature of today's episode. OBS is constantly corrupting my recordings. It's making it a nightmare to make any videos. However, having just been to make a coffee, everyone died. Literally, all of them. Every single person in the city is gone, right? Perished. All of them. It turns out a lot of my graveyards are full. So for this, I'm finally adding Move It. If you do not know, you can select Move It. You can come into this option here and hit Reset Objects. This achieves exactly the same of having to come into the menu to demolish the building, to let it demolish and then place it again. Exactly the same thing happens. I won't use Move It for anything else. I realise this is vanilla, but honestly, after 6 years of manually emptying graveyards, I'm pretty much done with it. So, we're using Move It for this. Alright, just, you'll get over it, I promise you. Reset objects, that resets them all. And we should see, immediate seconds after that the hearses start to leave again. And there they go. Wonderful. So, easily the biggest death wave the city has had so far, right? Thousands across the city dead. Especially almost this entire district here gone, right? Horrific scenes. It really is. Either way, coincidentally enough, I was just about to mention, did we add any medical over here? And we didn't. So I'll add it over this way. We'll put this in this side. I've recently updated to Windows 11 and a new version of OBS, and believe me, recording is no longer as simple as it once was. There's a million issues at hand I need to solve now, so bear with today's teething problems if it comes across in the edit, that is. On the arterial road opposite the mall here, I think I'm happy for some commercial to now be present. start to densify this area a little bit. It's building. I'm happy with the height of you now. I think so. That should be nice there. So we'll let that grow up, and this little out of town old school mall is now starting to attract some people, isn't it? So jumping across the highway to the second part of today's episode, I would like to turn my attention to the industry of the build. Really tackling all three today, aren't we? We've got industry, residential and commercial today. We really are just playing city skylines, aren't we? So definitely want to repeat the design of sewage plants. I can probably already tell we've not got the room to do that right there, but we can change the angle. But of all the industrial service things, we certainly need more sewage. So let's get them in. We'll stick with the eco ones. I do like them. And I think in just some positioning like that, you know, against the rail with some very light supplementary zoning, I think. And also over here as well. Just ignore literally the entire city dead in the background there. Oh no. Good job I turned around, isn't it? Imagine if I hadn't noticed that and I just stayed looking this way the whole episode. We would have lost the whole city because we're not playing with advanced building control, so things will abandon. But in these spaces around here, more industry, we definitely don't need power. It's just not a concern to run up with the hydro dam and the nuclear plant, so we don't need to worry about that. And this bit of the city could probably do with a little bit of garbage. Where's our nearest recycling centre here? We don't have one. We've actually got people whinging of oh wait, you guys are on, you idiot egg. How long have I left that like that? I've used actual road there, not pedestrian road. My apologies everyone. Goodness gracious, no wonder you're complaining of garbage and death, right? I know it's connected to a pedestrian road, but I did want that to be road access. But yes, the original point being, these guys also want recycling centres. Be careful where we place it here, pollution will spill over this close, so we'll place it at the opposite end of the little industrial site. I certainly think that factories would also be more than appropriate here as well, right? What have we got left now? Not that many of them. Sneak factory is quite big. We're due one final factory complex, aren't we? Maybe we'll make that out of all of these, besides the printing press, which is the smallest one I have left. And just so happens to sit and fit between the rail. Well, I think it's made for it then, isn't it, right? On the S-bend of the Ranoc highway here, you're going to pass by the printing press, where the Ranoc Times is printed from, maybe? I don't know, what would Ranoc's newspaper be called? I will leave that up to the comments to decide. Orientation is quite important here, I feel. But with the logo facing the highway, I think I'm almost pretty much perfectly happy with that, right? This will need warehouses. It wants paper and plastic, which are total opposite side of the city. Plastic is here, paper is there, in the forestry area in the delta. But warehouses should be okay. There's obviously pretty good highway connection around here, so it shouldn't massively want for resources. I do just want that straight in here so I can have the road come the side of the building. Then we'll reintroduce that curve. Now let's choose on that warehouse. I think I'm just going to do a bit of a combo yard with some airport apron and two different warehouses. And someone commented last episode that the airport apron is my favourite asset in the game. No, and you're not wrong. I really can't overstate how much this one single, what is essentially a decal, how much it's improved the vanilla experience, right? The ability to do this, especially for industrial areas, where in real life, just generally you find so little green, you know. Exactly what I want here. We'll reinforce that with some ore fence. And we'll have this just run along the edge of that concrete. It's nice and simple. And there's plenty of fun to have with industrial props. We can probably even add just a third little building in there as well with some Railroads of Japan action. Just grab a branch office. That in there, right? And while we're there, let's grab some parking too. Brilliant. Just a nice way. You know, rather than that just being like a grass edge like it was now, we can have it fall into its logistics yard as a bit of a separate facility. It wanted paper and plastic, didn't it? So let's give both of those. Paper and plastics, they should be delivered in no time. I think I'll even compliment, just be a little bit frivolous with the node count and introduce just some security fence here off the highway. We've got the nodes to use. Rannoch won't hit the node count. I'm pretty sure I said that about Orchid Bay, didn't I? So, you never know. But yeah, that's just a nice little industrial touch, isn't it? Well, it does hide the logo quite a bit, which I'm not sure I'm massively happy about. But that's okay regardless, I think. So I like that there, our little industrial sector. It's ticked off some nice service for the city as well. Lots of overgrowth and some light prop work will help it in this detail and time lapse. God, it's such a death wave, that, isn't it? Like, holy smokes. I don't think I've ever seen one that big. That city-wide as well. Like, they really must be backed up. I mean, we're only losing 110 people a week, which isn't that bad. That's kind of normal, really. It really is. Just, we do have houses here, don't we? I do. Maybe slightly panicked. Just slightly. Let me pop a Korean death care center. I am planning to revisit here in a live stream at some point and do something with this area. I'm not massively happy with it, so we'll blend that in, but just so it has it for now. It should be okay. Otherwise, yeah, our hearses are out. It's just taken a while, isn't it? It'll be fine. It'll be fine. So coming to the residential part of today's build, I'd love to link these together with an area to just tie it together in this bit of no man's land we have between these areas now. Now, I've already gone ahead and prepared the bridge in footage that is unfortunately now corrupt. My apologies, everyone. But just to bring this through, under the bridge, and just have some houses that line these little nooks and areas just off of the district here. Bring them down. Couple different spaces. Alright. And I eventually envision perhaps another hillside expansion here in a similar effort to what's happened with Ashby Gardens in last week's episode. Perhaps more potential. I don't know. I don't want to lose too much of Rannoch's big mountains though. I don't want it to be covered in development. We'll see. We will see. This will just continue to be European suburbia. No problems here. And we've got the sound barrier on the highway too. Might even make these ones that are right against the road just too deep. So then I can get some trees in there as well. I should be fine there. And then a pathway, most likely nature reserve, just to form some well-trodden land here. Between the two neighbourhoods. A nice little bridge. I just happened to land directly on the pillars there, of course. Let's make this a straight endeavour, actually. And then through here, we've actually got some kind of really nice shaped land that occupies this area here, which I think would be another good spot for an asset. Again, I'm desperate to use the new other parks. You know what, do we want... Is this the spot for the birthday asset? Maybe? I mean, I don't hate it there, to be honest. I think we might have actually found the space for it. Yeah, maybe we just have that there. There's a little 10th birthday part homage. Maybe you can imagine it was kind of part of the mall attraction at some point. You know, it was sold in the 80s as the world's biggest fake birthday cake, right? But now there's one in Dubai that's 300 foot taller, right? Usually the way it goes, isn't it? But it's still here as a flashback of nostalgia for people that grew up in Rannoch. I think I can get on board with it. It's a very hard asset to justify. It just looks so obtrusive, doesn't it? And you got some low res, hundreds and thousands there as well. Very nice. Okay, and then we'll just make that part of the family attraction then, I suppose, right? How are our hotels doing? Can I help you? You'd like a little bit more trees and office, wouldn't you? That's okay. I'm happy to have some office as part of this district here. And even some more high density as well. Let's get people living on these corners, and then we can develop this as park space really, using park life assets. As the whole area just kind of blends together between district, industrial, and old commercial center. Really kind of, you know, properly playing city skylines today, right? With all three things tied together around existing road infrastructure, which can be a really fun project actually. I'm trying to tie all three things together, sometimes quite challenging. But there's a lot of detailing to do here. Let's go ahead and fill in the overgrowth around the river, industrial props, barriers, fencing, and commercial plazas where needed. In a pretty spectacular, I guess we need to name this as well, don't we? With 2 birthday cakes here, should we go for Cake City? Yeah, definitely, definitely. This place is definitely called Cake City. Definitely called Cake City. Either way, let's do some detailing, and then we'll be right back. Alright guys, let's have a little look around Cake City, shall we? Easily one of the best named areas we've ever made. We'll follow the highway through the central belt to start with, as we enjoy some fencing either side of it. With just some simple industrial service visible from the highway, which is always such a cool aesthetic, right? Factory in the warehouse is also present too. Still waiting on some plastic, although the paper has started to arrive, which is nice. Beyond this, lots of overgrowth and thick forest on the opposite side of the tracks there as well. As a wild Rannoch takes over on the opposite side of the industrial estate. I love how everything's not gridded here and kind of like on the perfect angle. There's all these little opposing angles and alley spaces developed. But really fun, really nice area. It's kind of run down mall, now turned into social housing over the years, has turned out really nicely. Lots of fun pollard and plaza spaces through here near the tram stop, which is really added to these here. Right where we had them before, which is nice. And then some pathways taking people back in too. Which also come with their own benches and bins, of course, which helps decorate the space for us. Usual collection of magazine kiosks, grills, etc. near the public transport and the stadia, very nice. Then the same over here as well, of course. Child attractions, you know, kind of the old rusty 80s carousel. Outside the old mall, you know, it's just like, well, old school vibes. The build sort of theme has come off surprisingly well today, actually. Especially with the kind of old rundown mall vibe further down the road and out of the city from the new modern mall, which you can actually see from here. You can see the posh mall. And the Japanese shopping buildings here too. So, you know, even that visual alone, just having it, the newer version closer to the city centre is really quite powerful for the build, isn't it? A nice theme to tie into it, I think. Commercial down the main street now, also link this in here as well, and this visual right here is exactly what I wanted to do. Yeah, with kind of the old rundown mall just on the front of the arterial. Classic sort of strip mall vibes, isn't it? And that all sits really nicely against this main road now, which has also added cycling to itself as well. Encouraging people to cycle further into the city centre, of course. The green belt over this space has all been fenced off as if it is some kind of, you know, proper parkland. With eateries, tables, assets. Tried to blend the park life assets into the side of the park. Just to make it look not so square, with some different fence angles as well. I think it turned out not too badly. Now there's also a gate out the front here as well. Which just so happens to almost perfectly frame the cake, doesn't it? Isn't that brilliant? Fantastic. Like with some landscaping, and I also just changed the road up here so the gate made sense. I needed the gate to place the assets. So it's definitely more kind of ornamental than functional, you know. But still actually settles in quite nicely regardless. Pathways and greenbelt complete the social housing estate here as we cross back over where there's lots of forests and overgrowth around the estate here as well as the suburbia has expanded around the core networks. And I absolutely love this bit of the city. Everything's so curvy and wavy, especially all the different networks coming and going from each other. It's a really unique part of the city, and nice to actually finally get it all completed today and finished off with some wonderful views, of course, back to the city centre. Otherwise, I'll shut up and leave it there. Huge shout out to the patrons and YouTube members that support these videos, with a roll call to our golden egg patrons: Badwolf, Blythe, Sino, Louis Altlin, Michael W, Phoenix MD, Spartan Angel, and Wesley Kip. When you get involved in that, links below, Instant Gaming and Patreon. Best way to support the channel, if you so wish. Please excuse today's editing if it has come across at all choppy. I've had endless issues with the Windows 11 migration, and then also with just settings resetting themselves and generally not behaving, alongside an OBS update as well. So just some teething problems, should be sorted for next time, I hope. Anyway, enjoy the cinematics from here, but I'll shut up and leave it there. Let's thank you all so much indeed for watching, and as always, enjoy the rest of your day.